love that music box, but there are some things about it that just defy my mind, and I think I go through it, but I never know what thing I'm supposed to look for on any given Sunday. So, okay, I just need to mark that that's not a song to play again and try to remember that. Please be seated. Oh, it's all good. Before I begin this sermon, I want to reveal to you what I believe the Holy Spirit may have revealed to me regarding this sermon. I have been assured that there are average sermons, there are above average sermons, below average sermons, exceptional and awful sermons. This sermon today will absolutely fall into one of those categories. I want to tell you today about Jack. You've heard of Jack, haven't you? Yeah, me neither, but this is what I know about Jack. Jack, you see, was a fisherman. He owned a huge boat beside the boat of the fishing apostles. But unlike the fishermen apostles of our Gospels, Jack could actually fish. He actually had skills. Jack eliminated carbon emissions on his boat before they even knew what that was. He provided for his family. He tithed at the temple. He kept 200 denarii on hand in case he ever ran into a crowd and needed to feed the poor. He looked both ways before crossing the street, and he knew full well in his mind who God was. One day, Jesus was walking in Galilee soon after his baptism in the Jordan and the temptation and, all that stuff. And Jesus saw Jack and said to him, "Follow me." Now, Jack, you see, was carrying a fish casserole. It had to be fish, come on. That his wife had prepared the day before, and he was bringing the casserole to the synagogue refrigerator so it could be reheated in the microwave the next day. And since the casserole was going to be used to feed thousands of people, Jack said, I got to bring this casserole to the casserole kitchen. How about some other time? So Jesus walked a little further, and he found Philip and said to him, "Follow me." And Philip followed, and Philip remained a really bad fisherman, at least if you read the gospel. Philip and the rest of the disciples could never catch a thing unless the carpenter, Jesus, showed up. They were really quite pathetic. Not at all like Jack. Jack, as I was telling you before, Jack was a self-made man, skilled. He could accomplish absolutely anything. Jack, in short, was an amazing man. But, like I asked you before, does anybody know Jack the fisherman? Despite his great skills, do we still remember him? Clearly, I don't know Jack. I guess, judging from feasts and fasts, you might call Philip a sidekick of sidekicks. Yeah, he brought Nathanael to Jesus. He realized that it would have taken 200 days' salary to feed the thousands. And he helped Jesus to help us understand the relationship of Jesus to the Father. But really, Philip was a nobody, just an ordinary man who lived and died and about whom we really don't know much, except perhaps that he knew and followed Jesus. I guess from his inclusion in the list of apostles at the beginning of Acts, we can also conclude that he was among those who sold all they had and held everything in common. So his life was a little bit more than just lip service. This sermon does actually have a moral, or maybe I should say it will eventually have a conclusion. and the Holy Spirit had revealed that there are above average sermons, there are average sermons, below average sermons, exceptional sermons, and awful sermons. And this sermon today has absolutely fallen into one of those categories. Therefore, in conclusion, don't be like Jack. Be like Philip. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.